Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be looking at Season 1 of the Amazon Prime series, Reacher. But before we begin, I'd just like to thank everybody for 700 subscribers. I'm really happy to have reached this milestone and I couldn't have done it without you. Let's see if we can get to 800 soon. So Reacher is an action series based on the Jack Reacher novels written by Lee Child. It was created by Nick Santora and it currently comprises of 2 seasons, with a third being scheduled to premiere on the 20th of Feb. It follows Jack Reacher, a self-proclaimed hobo and former US Army major who often goes toe-to-toe with criminals from all different walks during his travels. Now, if you're somewhat familiar with the Jack Reacher character, you'll know that the role was previously played by Tom Cruise in the 2 motion picture films titled Jack Reacher and Jack Reacher Never Go Back, both of which are the subject of my previous video, so you can check that out if you want to first. And while both films were successful, a variety of factors led to a potential third film being scrapped. And so the franchise was subsequently rebooted for television, with Alan Ritchson being cast in the role this time. The first season follows Reacher as he visits the rural town of Margrave, Georgia, where he is almost immediately arrested for murder. And in order to clear his name, he teams up with Detective Oscar Finley and police officer Roscoe Conklin. And together, the 3 unravel a conspiracy involving corrupt lawmen, politicians, and a wealthy business owner. And after watching the first season recently, I have to say, I was extremely impressed with the finished product. Then again, this shouldn't come as a surprise to me since it was based directly off the very first book in the series, Killing Floor, which is still my favorite out of all of the Jack Reacher books I've read so far. And this single season of the show is currently my favorite Jack Reacher adaptation to date. So let's get into it. So first things first, I appreciate the fact that the writers decided to take the character back to his roots by adapting the very first book. That way casual audiences can get a proper introduction to the character of Jack Reacher, and fans of the books can finally see the very first installment of the book series come to life on screen. The casting for this season was also perfect, the most obvious being Alan Ritchson in the role of Jack Reacher. Prior to the show, you probably recognize him as the young Aquaman from Smallville, which I have a full playlist for if you're interested. This guy was the perfect casting choice for Reacher, as he fit Lee Child's exact description of the character in the books. And he also had great chemistry with Malcolm Goodwin and Willa Fitzgerald, who play Oscar Finley and Roscoe Conklin respectively. And whether or not you've read the book, the team dynamic you expect from these characters was executed really well. There are a couple of noteworthy creative liberties taken with the source material. For example, when compared to the books, Reacher tends to verbalize more of his thoughts in the show. And a couple of other things, like the fact that the show is set in modern times as opposed to the late 90s. There's a twist in the conspiracy, which is a big deviation from the book. And the character of Frances Neely is introduced much earlier compared to the books. I mean, she isn't introduced until book number 6 without fail. And she's an old friend of Reacher's who served alongside him in the Army's 110th Special Investigations Unit, where she worked as a master sergeant. The action is pretty solid too, and there's a nice mix of everything, although I'm sure most people are sorely interested in the hand-to-hand combat sequences, considering we now have a much more lore-accurate Reacher. Given that this is the first iteration of the character in series form, the pacing was solid, and not a single episode ever felt like it lagged or rushed through its plot points. And the finale capped things off perfectly, so much so that even if the show were to be cancelled after 1 season, it would no doubt go down in history as one of the best, albeit inadvertent, miniseries of all time. Now, the only issue I had with this season, being a fan of the book, is that I wouldn't say it's as coherent as the book, but that's just a small thing. And if I hadn't read the book, I probably would have seen the final reveal of the co-conspirators behind everything coming a mile away. But I read the book, so I had to know it was coming anyway. So yeah, those are my thoughts on season 1 of Reacher. As you can tell, I enjoyed the heck out of this season, and if you somehow haven't seen the show, I would highly recommend it to you. Next time, we're going to be looking at season 2, so look forward to that very soon. Thank you all for watching, guys. Please be sure to like the video, share it, and subscribe. Ring the bell. Take care, and I'll see you soon.